What's quirky about me is I wasn't necessarily entrepreneurial when I was in year 7, 8, 9. Well, the teachers were like, you need to start working. So I just started working because I thought that was the next thing to do. You know, when we first started the business, we were all living at home because I was so caught up with sailing, with property. I didn't have time to think about emotions, and I do lack empathy as a whole anyway, trying to work on it. But it's so hard to actually separate, you know, the business from family. The way that I spoke to my sister at the start is 100% not the way I should have spoke to her. Goals are different, life's different, and everyone's doing it for different reasons. I'll come back the next day and say, tell the team my legs, say sorry. I can risk it all because I've got the ridiculous amount of confidence that I can get it back tomorrow. How big can this be? You know, I'll enjoy the journey. How big can it go? The business would not be where it is today without my mum.
Shout out to Sally.
Yeah, shout out to Sally. And I tell her that, and I want everyone to know that because...
Welcome back to the Property Newbies podcast, and today I'm joined by an ex-GB athlete, Mr. Dan Budden. Now, I've been trying to get this one in the diary for a long time, so I'm so excited that he's here with me today. Today, we're going to be talking about building a family rent-to-SA business. We're going to talk a lot about mindset, and my favourite topic, course gurus. Stick around, you're going to enjoy this one. So Dan, thanks for joining me, man. This has been a long time coming, right? We've been trying to get this in the diary for a long time now.
For sure, no worries. No, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Life's good. Busy, but busy is good.
Wouldn't have it any other way though, right?
Exactly, yeah, life of an entrepreneur, exactly.
Exactly that. So we're going to talk about, we spoke offline obviously before we joined in, so we're going to talk about building your business, you know, the family business. We're going to talk a lot about mindset as well. So thanks for opening up and to share that with me. But before we do get into that, one of the things I like to start off with asking all my guests is to tell me something quirky or interesting about you that maybe someone may not know about.
Yeah, I think talking to a lot of like the property industry here rather than like my close friends and stuff like that, but some of the property industry don't know about me. I play hockey as well. I used to play hockey to a quite high level, so I used to play North of England hockey as well as the sailing. And also I used to have a gaming channel. So I used to have a gaming channel for like Fortnite and stuff like that. I feel like everyone who looks at me as an entrepreneur maybe thinks that I started, you know, as like a really young entrepreneur through school, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I didn't. Like, I was one of those kids who like loved gaming. I was year 7, 8, and 9. Like throughout I was a bit of like one of those kids who had a assistant during school, stuff like that. So people don't really know that about me. I wasn't what I'm like now at school.
So would you say you wasn't necessarily entrepreneurial in your earlier days?
Basically, yeah. I think what's quirky about me is I wasn't necessarily entrepreneurial when I was in year 7, 8, 9. Well, it's not something I've been thinking about since the day I was born.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I really like enjoyed all my upbringing, and actually only when I started sailing, my mindset kind of shifted into this like entrepreneurial side.
Yeah.
I've touched on it previously, but yeah, like the goal setting side of it and stuff like that. So yeah, I think if you saw my social media now, you think that maybe this guy has been entrepreneurial since he was really young, but actually, it wasn't like that.
That's an interesting point, because I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, and I've known a lot of entrepreneurs, and they all say, you know, it was in me from an early age. You know, from when I was in my mum's womb, I was an entrepreneur. I was already thinking about my next business and selling at school and things like that. But it's interesting that you say it wasn't really in you naturally.
Because that's it. I mean, my school, year 7, 8, and 9, my predicted grades were like D's and E's.
Yeah.
I just didn't really care that much about school. I got bullied a bit at school, so I didn't really attend that much. Like I was a bit of like a little fat kid, and not a lot of people know that. And then when it got to like year 10 and 11, the teachers were like, you need to start working. So I just started working because I thought that was the next thing to do. You know, as a lot of entrepreneurs don't go to university, don't do GCSEs, quit school early, start their own business. But I didn't. I got my GCSEs. I was really happy with how I've worked so hard to get them. Like I wasn't just, you know, people who seem to just revise the night before and get an A star. That wasn't me at all. I had schedules in. I was really going for it. Worked so hard to get my GCSEs, so hard to get my A levels. Went to university for 3 years, economics and finance. I thought if I wasn't going to be an Olympic sailor, I'd be some stockbroker like Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
But obviously now I've gone into property. But yeah, it wasn't the stereotypical entrepreneur selling crisps at school kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was very much just kind of developed into that similar sort of time that I started the sailing.
Yeah, love that. There's a lot to unpack there. I'm going to come back to that, but can you just introduce yourself to the audience and Dan, tell us who you are, what you do, what you're about?
Yeah, so my name's Daniel Budden. I'm a property athlete on social media. I used to sail for the GB sailing team, so I was campaigning towards the Olympics in 2024 for the past 7 years, or maybe 8 years. And I started my property business with my family in November 2019. So I started 50-50 with my mum. And since then, we've scaled to 65 properties in the SA side, 26 rent to SA, 40 are management. We've bought 3 properties that we've kept in those time, and we've done 1 flip. And now we're kind of sitting on cash. And this year, for me, a goal is to take the business to the next level. I want to make it a proper business office, UK-based staff, rather than all outsourced to the Philippines, which is currently what it is. But in a nutshell, that's me.
Brilliant,
That's
brilliant,
what I do.
brilliant. And before that, you mentioned you used to be this fat kid. And
Yeah.
I can't picture you being a fat kid. Looking at you
Yeah.
now, this specimen of a sailor and hockey player. What?
No, I appreciate the compliments, but like if we could pull up a photo of me when I was in year 7, I was a different kind of stuff. I was very fortunate that at the similar time I started sailing, I had a growth spurt.
Yeah.
Don't know where it came. My dad's quite tall. Don't know where it came from though. And it wasn't fat necessarily, like overweight, but I was very chubby cheeks. I've still got a couple some cheeks on me, but very chubby cheeks, quite small. Your classic maybe hooker in rugby. I was a hooker for 7, 8, and 9, so that's kind of the vibe I was going for. So I was just a little fat kid. I wasn't like really obese, overweight kind of fat, but I was just genuinely a bit chubby. Easy pickings in the school ground for sure.
Okay. So you go by the property athlete on Instagram. So you obviously got a good background in sport. Talk to me about your sporting background.
Yeah, so like I said, I started sailing when I was 2011. So, and the way I got into it, my mum used to sail with her dad. She had a place in Salcombe, and this is like way back. And when we were young, they tried to get us into it, and I was like 4. Absolutely hated it, and I was like, Mum, what are you doing? This is a terrible sport. And then when I was around 2011, 2012, my friend at school was like, I'm come down to this dinghy club, like a Thursday night fun thing. Went down there, really enjoyed it. And with the sailing, it's very much like a pyramid, and it's quite like they try and get a lot of people in at the bottom level. So it's quite, once you're in, there's quite like a path that you can go down if you wanted to. So I got better and went there on a weekly basis. And because when I was younger, my mum tried to get me into it, I'd already done like level 1 and 2, which is how you get into sailing. And my friend at school, he got me down there every week. I went there, trained more, just got better at it. And then kind of, like I say, it's very like a trodden path of where you can go to the Olympics. And I got my own boat. I rented a boat initially to go to an event. Then I got my own boat, and just from there on, went down this path. And each next stage was GB youth squad, national youth squad, and then it was the British sailing team at the lower level. Then it was the next level, and it's very like well trodden path, and they can get pushed down that path, and that's the path I went down. So for the past, and probably around 2019, we got a silver medal at the under-23 Worlds in 49er, which was kind of like the peak at my youth level. And then from then, we were campaigning towards the Olympics in Paris 2024. And that was a good 5-year stint to try and get there. Unfortunately, it didn't pay off though. So earlier this year, unfortunately, we lost the Olympic trials, which meant we weren't going to go to 2024. And then I had a decision to make: am I going to spend the next 5 years pushing towards 2028 Olympics in LA? LA is quite a cool place for Olympics.
It is.
It's quite cool. Paris was cool as well, a bit closer. But I decided that I'm going to take a year and a half out. Unofficially, I don't think I'm going to go back. But that's kind of how, when you're in the sailing world, that's kind of how it progressed. I started just at a local sailing club at a lake, started to get better, started to enjoy it more, had a growth spurt. Bit more confidence about me. It was the first time I got opened up to goals and squads. And actually, I think looking back on it, it's like I say, I had friends at school. I had pretty good school, but I had the bullying at school, stuff like that. And actually, it was a separate life, totally different outside of school. Could be who I wanted to be, and kind of all just pieced itself together. The timing was good, and I just enjoyed it from that side of it. Always getting learned about these marginal gains of getting just a little bit better each day. And at the start, you're getting better so fast. Someone's like, do this, you do it, and you get better. So it's like, oh my god, amazing! And I really enjoyed that, and I never really had that before. Until then, I've played a lot of sport, but never to that extreme. And it was really fun to, just keep going down this path of squad to next squad, junior, youth, national, GB. And then now we're here today. So
love that. Yeah. So how would you say your sporting background has shaped you into the man that you are today?
Yeah, it's a good question. So the main thing I want to touch on is the part where I started sailing, and the first time I'd ever been open up to goal setting. And actually, that's where my entrepreneurial flair kind of started.
Yeah.
Because the entrepreneurial side, and I'm only reflecting on this, that I know that's when it happened. But we did goal setting in the youth squad, stuff like that. And, and also being good at something as well was like really like confidence booster for me.
Yeah, of course.
And I wasn't a confident kid. I wouldn't say boots to a goose. And that's where people might look at me now and be like, who's it, like, what do you mean you were not confident? If you talk to my mum, my dad, such a shy kid, but and they'll say the same thing, all my confidence came from sailing and sport.
Yeah.
And yeah, the way it shaped me is, one, it massively increased my confidence. It showed to me how you set goals, how you can actually achieve your goals when you put your mind to it, how you can get better every single day. And as you get towards the top level, 1% gains, like every single, and like one of the things I talk about now is just doing 1% better every single day.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the year, you're way further ahead than you were before.
Yeah.
And that's all of that was from sailing, and not knowing it at the time, but looking back on it, that's what it gave me, and especially in this professional sporting world, and just also like doing stuff when you don't want to do it because you need to do it because that's what your goals are. Mm-hmm. Some people go, set goals and then they don't want to do it and they don't do it. But during sailing, it was the only thing I had, and it was the thing that I was genuinely passionate about wanting to do. So when I set a goal, I wanted to achieve it, and I wanted to put my heart and soul into it. I realised that if I do that, I then achieve them.
Yeah.
So it taught me a lot of lessons around goal setting, confidence boosting, and just getting friends, talking to people again. I became a confident kid.
Yeah.
Probably because I progressed in sailing. So when you're better than other people, you feel you will naturally walk a bit differently.
Of course.
Have a bit different confidence.
Of course.
All of that was taught through sailing. And I necessarily didn't know it at the time. Obviously, I was 16, 15, something like that, 16.
Yeah.
So, at that age, you just want to be the cool kid.
Yeah, of course.
So, it taught me a lot, though, definitely.
Yeah. I'm going to come back to a few things you just said there, but do you mind if I ask then? So, you said that your confidence came from your sailing journey and, when you started out on this. So, when you realised you weren't successful in the, getting to the 2024 Olympics, how did that knock you? Did that knock your confidence? How did that feel? Yeah,
massive. A bit of background. So a lot of throughout the whole of sailing, or not the whole of sailing, but the last, when it really mattered. So when I was actually had a potential shot at Olympics, I would always, probably from 2020 onwards, after that, once I finished university, basically, when I started the business, I would always think that everyone else was kind of saying, and they weren't saying this in hindsight, but they were saying, why has he got something else? Why is he doing a business? That time should be focused on sailing. But you can't sail every single hour of the day. You can't gym every single hour of the day.
Yeah.
There's only so much admin you can do, and I like to keep busy. So I built this business alongside, and for me as well, money as a driver, or more so freedom as a driver for me. So when I was sailing, the money's money in, money out. It's like net zero, and this will come back to the question, but it's net zero. So I wanted something else to prove that I wasn't just doing the sailing for the money.
Yeah.
I was doing the sailing because I really wanted to do it. So once I'd got the money from the property side and had an actual income, I was like, actually, no, I'm doing this because I really want to do it. Yeah. So the last 2 years in the lead up to the Olympic trials, I was 100% focused on, I'm doing this. I'm going to slow the business down. Mum and Soph, you can take on 1 unit a month. That's the amount of work we're doing. We'll just, I'll just, in the evenings, I can do a little extra bits, but we were all outsourced, not growing. We are just kind of just cruising along, plateauing.
Yep.
And I wanted to do that because then I could focus on the sailing. So when we didn't achieve it, felt like an even bigger blow, Yeah. And I remember so it was in Palma. During sailing, you have a qualifying series and a final series. And if you don't make Gold Fleet, the top you can come is 26. So it's top 25 into Gold Fleet. Mm-hmm. Kind of like F1 qualifying, but a bit different because you just can't go. It's not like promotion and demotion.
Yeah.
If you don't make Gold Fleet, you can't come in the top 25. If you don't make Silver Fleet, you can't come in the top 65 or whatever it is. The next is split into silver and bronze, and we were in bronze fleet. So the week before we came, I think it was 4th or 6th, I can't quite remember, at the pre-event. So it's like a pre-trials, like same people, just doesn't matter, doesn't mean anything. Came like 6th, great regatta. So going into it, we were super confident. Didn't even make Gold Fleet, didn't make Silver Fleet, we're in bronze fleet. So we were real deep in the pan. And we went to our debrief afterwards with our coach. There's nothing much to say. It's like, cool, everyone's like heads down, like, let's just sit on it and we'll go sailing tomorrow maybe. But at that point, we didn't want to sail, we didn't want to do anything. And I previously when I failed in sailing before, when I was at youth level, and I'd always just like run away, not run away, but go on my own, have some time to myself. And I just went to the beach, called my mum and my dad, because mum always knows right. So rang my mum and just literally sat on the phone for like 3.5 hours, crying my eyes out, saying, "What have I done? Like, why have I spent the past 7 years up to this point?" And it was like really dark. And like you think have I regretted? It was just such a weird feeling because I hadn't regretted, but I think about how far I could be in the property, and all this is going through my head. And the whole time I've been like, no one wanted me to do the sailing anyway because they thought I was full-time in the property, and constantly had this battle between the two.
Mm-hmm.
So when it all came to fruition that we didn't succeed, I was like, fuck, everyone's going to be like, you've not made it because you did your property.
Yeah.
You've not made it because you should have put more into your sailing. But I knew deep down that I'd put everything into the sailing. So it was an absolute brain fog of like, you know, I think people are saying this.
Yeah.
I think this. And so in the moment, like, it was absolutely terrible. You know, like I say, rang my mum, cried for over many hours. Next day, we tried to go sailing, just didn't happen. And it did knock my confidence massively. And I think what it brought out, it didn't knock my confidence in terms of I'm not a more confident person. Obviously, reflecting on it, I can gain a lot of insight from it. But what it brought out is really good conversations about, you know, once the dust had settled, we actually had another event. So it's a bit long answer to your question, but we had another event which is like the second Olympic trials. So there's 2 events. We can bring this back, you know. And again, we felt it was 3 weeks later, so we got ourselves back in a mindset. We had some good conversations. Same shit happened, you know. Pre-event, great work, like really good. Won some races. Okay, we're back. Yes, let's smash this. Came silver fleet. It wasn't bronze fleet, but it wasn't gold fleet, and we just came an average result. And again, same thing happened. Ran mum. I was like, what's going on? You know, we've in all the training races and all my sailing career, all the training races, we've always done well. As soon as it matters, and I thrive on pressure. Like, I put pressure on myself in business, in sailing. I would always put so much pressure on myself, probably too much at times. But because I knew when I had pressure on, I performed. At least that's what I told myself. So whenever I felt, oh, that's a bit nervous, I go, that's good.
Yeah, butterflies in your stomach.
I'd be like, fucking good. I'm ready now. And that's the mindset I had. But on reflection, that there was 2 people in my boat. There was me and Nick, and there was me and James before that. And that's 2 different people.
Yeah.
And once, after all the dust had settled, we were just 2 different people. And we, similar to like, we'll touch on later, but I was framing the whole thing wrong for him.
Yeah.
So however I framed it for me should have been how I framed. I shouldn't have projected that onto him.
Yeah. Because
that then made it harder for him. And it wasn't his fault that we didn't succeed. It wasn't my fault we didn't succeed. Obviously, it was both of us, but it's how we worked as a team.
Yeah.
And actually, when we look back on it, we had some amazing conversations. I said it was because I decided after that I'm going to step away from sailing. We sat down and I said, I'll be honest, and it was the first time I'd spoken to that sailing partner at the time, someone in sailing honestly about the property side. I said, I'll be honest with you, I feel like everyone in the British sailing team is telling me I shouldn't be doing property. Why am I feel like everyone's judging me all the time. And by doing that, and it was all in my head the whole time, he's like, I don't care. I think it's amazing that you're doing that. And he wanted to continue, and I didn't want to continue, so there's a bit of that. But back to the whole confidence piece, like, in the moment, it was like the worst day of my life, you know, 7 years, or even more. I started when I was like, 12, 13 years of my life sailing.
Yeah.
In that moment, I could have gone, I regret it all, but obviously I don't regret any of it. But in the moment, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
In the moment, I didn't necessarily knock my confidence as such, but just knocked my. It was, to be honest, I look at a lot of failures as a massive failure is part of life, and I do learn from it. And the stuff I've learned from it's incredible. And if I was to go sailing again and do Olympics again, I would do it a lot differently. So I've learned some massive insights, and one of the things I do want to eventually do is try and help people who are in my situation, who have my kind of mindset, who are in sailing.
Yeah.
Because I was a unique, it's not like a black swan event, but I was unique in sailing that I had something else, and I wanted to have something else.
Yeah.
The whole time, everyone else was very much just sailing.
Yeah.
Whereas I had something else, and in my head, it was so hard to comprehend that some people might be saying this, but they're not. And so whilst it was terrible, I learned a lot from it, and I'm definitely stronger because of it.
Yeah. That's the thing with failure, though, isn't it? It's how you learn from it. People say, what's the saying now? It's only a failure if you don't learn a lesson from it, or if you make the same mistake again. Now, I'm not saying that you would learn from that and then next time you would make it and qualify, but you would do things differently, as you just said there. So you do you do different things.
For sure. And I can't look back and go, oh, I wish I'd learned that lesson when I was, and I wish I'd told all those people how I felt earlier on, because it's not, you can't look back and regret things. And I don't regret any of it. I had a great life. Like,
Yeah.
I travelled the world. Whilst we didn't necessarily get to the Olympics and that, ultimately, I wasn't doing it for the country. I wasn't like patriotism. It was always for myself anyway.
Yeah.
And that's all you do it for. You do it for yourself. You want a gold medal, it's cool. Like, you know, gold medal swinging around your neck. And then you think, like, what does it actually mean? But it doesn't matter what it means. Like, the feeling of being... And I really learned what my why was. Like, the feeling of being on a podium, it's like a euphoric moment. You don't remember it. Like, every time I've been on a podium in sport, in the sailing, even at, like, the junior level when we won the Nationals, 2015, best day of my life, you know? You stood there, do a speech. You're just like, I am national champion of all my mates.
Was there any champagne, or were you too young for that?
Champagne. Nah, vodka on the beach. Similar sort of vibe. Yeah, so, and in that moment, you just don't remember it. And even now, I'm like, it was so weird. Like, the smile on my face, the photos, that is the most genuine smile, you know?
Yeah.
And the same thing when we got the silver medal at the Junior Worlds in 2019. Same thing, the same smiles there. And that's why I was doing it.
Yeah.
It was all because to get that feeling again, but with sailing and professional sports everywhere, the highs are so high, the lows are so low.
Yes.
And that's just something, you've got to deal with. But if you learn from it, failure's 100%. And that's what I learned during, all my time, because as a sailor, and back to building all the confidence side of it, goal setting side of it, the whole time we had like psychology. We had psychology teams helping us on all those intricacies and how to, learn from failures and how to progress forward like fastest.
Yeah, I love that. I think I know the answer to this question already, but any regrets?
No regrets. I had a few big nights out that I probably didn't want to.
Standard. Haven't we all?
Yeah, haven't we all? But I don't regret any. Learned from them, so can't complain. But no, I don't regret any of it. I had a great life,
Yeah.
I sound like I'm like 50 or something when I say that.
How old are you? What, 25? 25.
Like I had a great life looking back on it.
You've still got another 2 Olympics in you, haven't you?
Yeah,
at that
exactly.
Age?
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I mean. I could go back, and I don't like to say yes or no. So there's the future is what it is. But no, I don't regret anything. Traveling the world was amazing. Surrounded by some of my best mates.
Yeah.
Sailing, I love being on the water. Proper water boy. Like, absolutely love it. Being by this ocean. So couldn't have asked for a better job ultimately.
Yeah.
It was a job that was a very good hobby. Kind of that wasn't losing me money. So in hindsight. Yeah. And I built the business alongside of it. So
wicked. What are we saying then? 2028 LA?
No, I think I'm a bit. I think if I want to do that, I'll need to start next year. But we'll see where we're at.
Make it happen. Make it happen. All right, no, that was great. Thanks for sharing that. So let's get into the business side of things then. So your business. So you kind of touched upon how you started, when you started, but talk to me about the journey of you starting your business with family. So I got a business with my partner. I speak to a lot of people that've got business with their partners, family members, whether it's mum, dad, brother, sister, and I know there can be challenges running a business with people that are so close to you, especially the ones that you see day in, day out. There's no almost separation of duties, but talk to me about that.
Yeah, so just to brief some context, I started the business 50-50 with my mum in November 2019, and a year and a half into my business, my sister joined the business as well. And because I was sailing, and kind of frame it, because I was sailing, I would do all the acquisition side. I'd call the agents, I'd talk to agents, I'd do all the systems, all the outsourcing. And my mum and my sister would set up the properties, do the viewings, and any on the ground work is what they would do. So that's kind of how it was set up. And working along, and now as well, my dad's part of the come into the business as well, helping out because my sister's on maternity. So another story. But the actual working alongside your family, like you'd love to be at a dinner table. So when we first started the business, we were all living at home. So mum and dad obviously lived at home. Yeah. My sister lived at home at the time, and I was at home, but I was, between sailing. But when I was home, we were all there. Yeah. All four of us around a dinner table. And my sister's boyfriend and my girlfriend would be like, why do you only thing you talk about is property? And it's so hard to actually separate, the business from family. Yep. And the big one as well is you talk differently to your family. And I can say all this now because I've learned loads from the 4 years that we've been a family business. And the way that I spoke to my sister at the start is 100% not the way I should have spoke to her. Yeah. And we've spoke about it many a times. But the big thing I've learned is goals are different, life's different, and everyone's doing it for different reasons. Mm-hmm. I'm 25. I've got no responsibilities. I can risk it all because I've got the ridiculous amount of confidence that I can get it back tomorrow, rightly or wrongly, super optimistic. And like I said, I don't have any responsibility. So my goals are massive, Yeah. I want to have, £10 million company, £100 million company, just how big can this be? You know, I'll enjoy the journey. How big can it go? My mum realistically doesn't need to work. And the whole time I'm saying, you don't need to work. I don't want you to work.
Yeah.
Stop working. I want you to go focus on yourself. Like, enjoy your life, you know? They went to the Maldives a few years ago and they said they really want to go again, but feel like she can't because of the business. And I'm like, that's not the point of the business, you know?
It's to give you that freedom, right?
But then mum's like, ultimately, the only reason mum's doing it is for me. She wants me to succeed and she wants to see me happy. So mum, the business wouldn't be where it is today without mum. She's called Sally, but obviously my mum. So yeah, the business would not be where it is today without my mum. And I tell her that, and I want everyone to know that, because everyone thinks it's like my own business, but it's not. You know, there's people in the background. You just see me, but she's got a different perspective on things. So her whole premise around, why do you want to take the business? You know, she doesn't understand business in that way. She's not entrepreneurial in that sense. All mum knows is, I want Dan to be happy, and Dan's happy doing the business.
That's the role of mum, though, isn't it?
And I'm like, mum, it's so like, that's the shift. So
shout out to Sally.
Yeah, shout out to Sally. Yeah, shout out to Sally. That's amazing. So then we come into my sister as well. So my sister joined a year and a half. I think it was a year and a half into the business. Again, business would not be where it is without my sister. She set up loads of units over the time, put her spin on things. But again, she's just had a kid. Her whole life, I think she'll be okay with me saying this, but she's wanted to be a mum. Like, she's the best mum. Now Harvey's born. Oh my gosh, like, so maternal. It's amazing. Like, it makes me so happy to see them together, because like, she is just loving it. Yeah. So shout out to Sophie, and I think she's gonna make me cry. But yeah, it's like, she's so happy to see her like that. And when I think back to the way I spoke to her, like, I just didn't, because I was so caught up with sailing, with property. I didn't have time to think about emotions, and I do lack empathy as a whole anyway. I'm trying to work on it, but I didn't think about the way she's framing this whole business side of it. It's enjoyable. We have freedom. You know, we can get the haircut when they want, nails when they want. But really, Sophie's goals in life were stable salary, stable income, have a kid, enjoy the family time. Like, she moved out. She moved out of home. How long ago? Maybe last year, and into her own home, and that was good because it separated stuff. But I would still go home, and it would be around the dinner table. But the main thing that I want to get across here is, if you're in a family business, you need to sit down and I try to go through goal setting and stuff, but you shouldn't judge your family for, you know, think about their context, where they're at in life. And it's the same, like, so my mum does it for me, my sister does it for her eventual family, and she, again, different time of life, you know, set up with a boyfriend, got a family, now has a kid, got 2 cars, house, mortgage, etc. Different life. My dad works his ass off and just does it for me as well, like, wants me to be happy. So it's all, but he's got a bit more of a mindset like me. He wants to go places and will never stop working, because kind of wants to really grow it. But the big thing is, the context of, like, and where each of you are in life. You just forget about, you just presume that everyone wants exactly the same thing. We're in a business. We're all employed, like, you know, and I'm rightly or wrong, or probably wrongly, definitely at times I'm like, I see myself as the CEO, and I see them as like my employees, and that's what I said at the start, not business partners. Yeah. And that was, when I look back, that was my problem. You know, I didn't see, which was really bad of me, you know, I wasn't necessarily the CEO, but because it's like, oh, it's Dan's business. You know, it's not my business. You know, it's our business. It's our business. And we all have different goals, you know. And the main thing was just getting over that hurdle in my head. And throughout the year, I've only really got to that now, and I can speak openly about it because I'm so relaxed about the situation, you know.
So it sounds like that was a personal mental battle with yourself, wasn't it? Really, it wasn't really anything anyone else could help you. It had to come from within,
massively,
right?
because ultimately it was, I'd be like, what do you mean you want to own, like, why don't you have any goals? Like, what do you mean? Like, why didn't you want to get to 250 units? It was always me projecting my goals onto other people, or onto my family. And my dad would be like, yeah, let's go, you know. But my sister would be like, she's a bit pessimistic. But looking back on it, that was so good for us, because I'm really bad at burning out, overreaching, doing everything. I'm still working on it. Managing burnout is probably like the bane of an entrepreneur's life. Yeah. And especially when you feel like you can do everything and you have the optimism that you can do everything. So having Sophie in the business helped that massively, because I'd say like 100 units, Sophie would say 60. Sophie was probably right in the end, because we are on 65 at the end of the year. So it was, and that's where Sophie would always bring me back down to earth in that sense, looking back on it. So shout out to Sophie.
Shout out to Sophie
Shout out to Sophie for that as well. So yeah, and it's nice to actually reflect back on it, and you know, we've come a long way, and I don't regret the way I spoke to them because I've learned from it again. The same thing.
Yeah.
I wish I hadn't had to go speak to them that way.
Yeah.
And there's lots of arguments because that's another thing. That's the whole goal setting side of it and the context side. But another thing is the way you speak to people. Mm-hmm. The way you speak to your mum and dad and your sister or your partner is so different to the way you speak to someone you employed.
Yeah.
Or a business partner or, and someone who's not within your family. Maybe a business partner is your best mate. You probably still speak to differently because that scenario where you've got two business partners, they're normally pretty aligned in terms of similar age, and they might not be, but they definitely know like who's got the wisdom, or if it's like different ages, then it's again business. You're not family.
Yeah.
It's like starting a business with your best mate. The conversation around context, where you're at, needs to be had in terms and just frame it like your goals are framed around where you're at in your life, your responsibilities, and the big one about like the way you talk to people. Like I would talk to my sister like she's my sister. Like we've grown up arguing with each other our whole lives. So obviously when it comes to business, I'm right, you're wrong. Yeah. You're right, I'm wrong. Yeah. Just always happens. Yeah. And especially when we all live together as well in the house. Same my mum, like and my dad. It's the class. It's your parents. Like you have grown up having arguments with them. Like it's just what you do.
Yeah.
And then you say sorry afterwards. But when those arguments come around business the whole time, it's very easy to throw your toys out the pram and say, oh, it's like I don't want to do it anymore. All right, you resign. And the amount of honestly, I'll say this on the podcast. The amount of times I've had arguments with my mum, my sister, and I've said, I'll just buy you out. Like, let's do it. I'll buy you out. I'll give you 50 grand right now, to leave. And they're like, do you really want that? And then afterwards, I regret it massively. And I'm like, that was a stupid thing to say. Why would I do that? Think about how much I've done for the business. They're probably worth way more than 50 grand. The business is worth more than that. So, and when I go through it like that, and I think that I regret that. That's something I regret it. I don't regret it, but I wish I didn't have to go through that to work out that's the problem, because I've done that many a times. Yeah. And now finally I'm like, I don't do that anymore because that's not the solution. Yeah.
So how do you control yourself now then to stop that then?
The massive one is the piece we just talked about there in terms of it's a family business. We're all in different stages of our lives, and there are ways that we can work this business where maybe our pay is different, maybe the way as it grows, who brings in more, etc. We can differ the pay. I'm definitely still working on the way the burnout side of it rather than the business side of it. Like my sister's on maternity, so I don't really talk to her ever about business at the moment. Yeah. Which is amazing. She can have fun with the kid. My mum, we definitely still have some arguments here and there, but the main things that are around it. When I reflect on it, the main problem is actually myself in terms of burnout. I'm actually doing too much, but won't open up to my mum about that, because deep down I just want my mum to not work. So I'm still working on that, honestly. But the main thing is just thinking that it is hard. It is really hard. But I would say the main thing is think about where each of you are in your lives, and have meetings to keep everyone in the loop of where we're at, and just try and speak as honestly as you can to people. And the amount of times that me and my sister have sat down together, like bawling our eyes out, saying like, because it's just this dynamic that's so odd, where it sounds like I cry all the time, but I don't. But I do in my fam, because it's really hard, because it's just a dynamic where you're in this family business, but you've just got different goals, different like parts of life, and then when it's the classic, you have an argument and you regret, like you don't regret it, but you're like, why do we have to have that argument for us to learn this? Yeah. You wish it didn't have to happen, but it's the way it does. So
I suppose the beauty of having, being in business with your family, that any argument you have, it's going to be resolved naturally in it, because they're your family members. They're going to know it wasn't meant intentionally. Yeah. You're going to kiss and make up. Whereas I suppose with a friend or another business partner, there could be that risk that this could be the end of the relationship. So do you have that in the back of your mind? Do you ever think, well, I know it's going to be fine, so it's going to be okay eventually?
I think subconsciously you have that in your mind. It's a good point. I think subconsciously that is there, and that's why you talk to them in that way. Yeah. You're like, ultimately, because especially when my mindset around business, I'm like, this is business. If you were an employee, this is how I would talk to you. But that's the problem. Yeah. They're not employees. Yeah. They're business partners. Yes. So I should talk to them as business partners. That's the whole shift now. So when I get into that frame of mind, I just try to take a step back. Normally, I evacuate myself from the situation whilst I'm getting a bit tempered, and then I'll come back
Go
and
jump in the boat, go for a little sail.
just drive off. Yeah, jump in the boat, go for a sail. No, I usually just drive off, and then I'll come back the next day and say tail between my legs, say sorry.
Yeah.
But that is the main point. Yeah, around like it's just you need to if you are getting like tempered or whatever, you just need to take a step back because subconsciously you do know that my mum will still say my mum still loves me, my sister still loves me.
Yeah.
Your business partner might not love you anymore if you're not asked to them.
Yeah.
So that's a big difference for sure, and it's hard.
So on a sort of weekly, monthly basis, how are you structuring the operations of your business with your family members?
Yeah, so at the moment, like I say, my sister's on maternity, and again, context, when I started the business, I wanted to outsource it all straight away, not to my parents, not to my sister, to someone else, because my whole mindset is we don't have a business if we're working in the business.
Yeah.
It's not a business. So since the start, I wanted to outsource it, especially when I was sailing. So that's kind of context for you. So at the moment, we have 5 virtual assistants in the Philippines. They do all the customer service side of it. I primarily focus on acquisitions, so I do all the new properties coming in. I speak to all the landlords, I speak to all the letting agents, and my mum will manage the setup and refurbs kind of the properties. So rent to SAs, management, I'll do some of them as well. But at the moment, the hands-on part of our business is unit setups. If we don't want to pay someone, we have teams we can pay. So on certain occasions, if we have loads getting set up, we'll pay them.
Mm-hmm.
But mostly my mum makes them look pretty. Mum's good at interior design.
The staging.
Always has been. Always has been, always will be. My dad and her did refurbs in the past. Mum would always design the kitchens, always look amazing. So since day one, Mum has done the setups and my sister as well. I do all the acquisition side. The virtual assistants sort the guest side.
Yeah.
And that's the frame. We're covered from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. At the moment, I would say and then we've got maintenance teams in each locations, cleaning teams in each locations, all outsourced. And my dad manages maintenance, but not in terms of my dad does all the maintenance. My dad manages sorting all the maintenance in terms of from a bird's eye view. So
all the communication.
Go to this, this person's doing that, this person's doing that, this person's doing that. And the VAs will make sure all the maintenance is there, and then my dad just delegates to necessary people in each location to make sure it happens. So that's kind of how it works. My dad's like the accountant for the business because he's an accountant by trade.
Okay.
So that's kind of how it's currently working. But we're hiring an operations manager at the moment, UK based. So like I said to you at the start, I want to take this business from where it is now, which in my head is a small business in my family, to a big business where we've got 250 units, UK office, UK employees. And the first step to that is an operations manager. So the 5 virtual assistants in the Philippines, one of them is like a head VA, and they all report to her, but she still reports to me. So I want someone in between that gap. So that's the operations manager. Is as we scale, I want our guest service to stay exactly the same, if not get better. I want the guest experience, because that's what we build our SA business on, guest experience. So I want all that to stay the same, if not get better. Our systems and processes to get better as we scale, and that's why all my time's focused on acquisitions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I want my mum to try and stop working. Like I said to you this before, I want my mum to stop working, so I'm always building the business to try and make her stop. And she can still go for like lunches with friends at the moment and stuff like that. And we're very, if we wanted to be, we could all just stop what we're doing right now, not take them any more units and be happy and just kind of like cool. But I want to take this to the next level. And the first step for that, operations manager.
Yep.
Once we've hired them, I'm sifting the applicants at the moment. We'll hire a sales manager, a sales or acquisitions manager who will take away all of my role.
Stuff that you was doing.
Yeah, so like the onboarding process. I mean, we've got, I reckon, like 80 leads now in our pipeline for like Airbnb management, guaranteed rent, just every single day, just like leads are coming in. And I'm one person, and I've got other things that I do. I have, a community group, got mentoring stuff that I do. I'm talking to developers to try and grow that side of the business, looking at acquisitions. So I've got a lot of other things going on, like acquisitions of businesses rather than acquisitions of properties. So yeah, this year for me, they're the 2 next parts to kind of not outsource, but can, push forward a bit.
Yeah.
Operate, like reinvest.
Yeah.
Operations manager makes sure our operations are smooth as they can be as we scale. Acquisitions manager makes sure our onboarding is really smooth. I can then focus on bigger acquisitions, developments, and ultimately, I always wanted to. The whole reason we're doing this, cash flow, build a pot. And we've been sat on like some good cash for a while now, just waiting for the right opportunity.
Yeah.
And the right opportunity for me is commercial unit, city centre, apart hotel.
Is that as in acquisitions?
Yeah, that's like an actual. That's a purchase that I want to do. So
yeah.
that's kind of what I'm gearing towards at the moment. But that's kind of where it's at. That's kind of how it all works.
Yeah. Do you know what I find interesting about that is that so you made the conscious decision from the start of your business to outsource. You know, I've spoken to a lot of people at networking events who, you know, some where they just started out or they were going for years, but they said they wanted to take their business to a certain position before they then outsource.
Yeah.
Whereas you've almost looked at it the other way, is that right from the start, I know I want to outsource.
Yeah, this is a blessing. This was a blessing in disguise, I think, with the sailing. I had to outsource. I wasn't,
you're right. Yeah,
I just had to outsource, and that's where I look back, and that's when it was a blessing in disguise because from day one we didn't pay ourselves until a year and a half in, but we weren't doing anything guest side, especially in the SA business. Whoever's in SA knows guest messages is the guest experience is what you need to have a good business. You're built on good guest experience, so. Guest experience comes from having a really good customer service team, you know, always replying to get messages, having the answers to all their questions, having the solution to their problems. That is what SA is built on. So from the off, and because I was in a different country, my mum didn't want to do guest messages. She was setting up units. So I was like, right, we had 2 VAs after 4 units. And we were just reinvesting the whole time, you know, reinvesting into our systems, channel managers, our VAs. And people are like, why have you got 5 VAs? And I'm like, we have a really, I get a VA every 15 units because they are max capacity right now. I'm like, how do you not have 5 VAs?
Yeah.
And I mentor people at the moment who have, you know, 20, 30, 50 units who have not had any VAs. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm stacked and I'm just doing acquisitions, you know, like you must be like proper stacked, you know, how do you live? And then I realized that actually a lot of people in SA just have a job. They just have a job because they're just replying to guest messages all the time. They feel like it's really overwhelming. Even if you've got 7 units, like I just said that right there, we had literally had a VA after 2 units. We had 2 VAs after 4. And that made our life so easy because guest messages we just have never had to worry about.
Yeah.
You know, we built that from the off. And that's where when I chat to people who are trying to get into SA or who are already in SA, I'm like, look, where do you want to take this? Because at the moment you're doing it a bit half-heartedly and you're falling out what you're lacking because you don't have your customer service nailed down. Your pictures aren't quite great, or you're not quite optimized on your website, and you find that when you start chatting to people, they're like, "Oh, I don't have a website," or "I'm not on these corporate booking agents," because they don't have time to actually do that.
Yeah,
you know, all of our VAs do all of our listing optimization. They post all the properties onto the websites for me. They put it on our own website. They do our blog. They do all our emails, our accounting. All of that is done, and I just think anyone who's in any property business, to be fair, same goes for, I don't know about HMO, but it's particularly in SA, you know, when it's built off, you are chatting with people the whole time. And if you think right now, we've got 65 units, let's say there's 4 guests in every single unit right now, and say it's like 80% occupied. So like, that's 240 guests, and let's say it's like 75% occupied, so, or 80% occupied, there's 100, you could say like 200 guests, let's say.
Yeah.
Right now, we have 200 guests that could have issues.
Yeah, and if they all
send you a message obviously now, if they're in the same house, so there's only 65 units that could have issues, but it is like, you know, we change over guests probably once a week minimum, and you just think that's a lot of guests in a month. Yeah. That's a lot of shit to deal with. Yeah. If you don't have people in place. So I'm just, to anyone who's in the SA industry, I'm like, you need to systemize, and here's what you need to do.
Yeah, it's a big talking point. So I had early on in the year, I think it was last year actually, a lady who specialises in hospitality. So she used to work in the hotel industry. Yeah. Got into a family business doing SAs and HMOs, I think. But she now does consultancy for people in hospitality or SA. And the big talking point or big takeaway I took from that was the importance of customer service and the guest experience. Yeah. And it's interesting you say that. So my question is, Dan, so if it's about the guest experience, you know, how did you train your VAs to sort of speak in your voice or to get the message across how you'd want it to be done? How did you go about doing that? Yeah, again, a lot of mistakes. So they've made a lot of mistakes over the time and learned from it, the guests have. But we've, since the start, and again, blessing in disguise, like since the start, I've written down every single message that I thought could be a template, every single question a guest asked, I wrote down, I wrote the answer I put it into a database. So since the start, every single guest question that's been asked, I have an answer to, and it's in my voice on a template on a database. Right. And that has just built up since day one. Yeah.
And you don't, even if you're an SA now, the same questions come up all the time.
Yeah.
Questions about security deposit, and you can automate a lot of it. And obviously now with AI as well, we're actually moving to an AI customer service bot where they've just literally gone into our database, and now once we implement it, every time a guest asks a question, AI will respond with the exact answer in my voice tone. You know.
Oh, using like a voice message.
Well, they could no. So they could no. They're in my tone
how
of
you
like
would
speak,
tone how you'd speak. Yeah.
How I would speak in the message. Yeah, because I've written all of those templates on a database anyway, so it's already in how I want it to be worded, and then AI just does its thing and makes it different.
That's
each
so
time.
clever. Yeah.
So that's how I've done it, and yeah, when you hire a VA, it's not like they just know everything straight away.
Yeah.
And the best VAs to hire are the ones who actually aren't as experienced in particular industry because they're expensive.
Yeah.
They think they're really like they are just expensive if you hire someone who's already done it. And then you're like, if you've already done it, why aren't you still doing it with that company?
Yeah.
Is one of the things you question. Whereas if I just hire off like the vibe I get with them on interviews, how good their English is. Do they have like phone call experience? That's kind of important, but a lot of them do anyway. A lot of them work in call centers anyway.
Yeah.
So a lot of them have phone call experience. English master, they have like English master, the equivalent of like an English masters. So that's what I look for in a VA. And when I hire them, I just hire off the vibe. You know, if they're like I like people who've got like a nice family, they care about their kids, they want to do this for their kid, because that's like eventually for me, that's what I want to do. The whole reason I'm doing this is so when I eventually have kids, I can give them an amazing upbringing and like having amazing opportunities, you know, the similar opportunities I had, but without my dad not being around as much, if that makes sense. That's kind of like why I'm doing it. So yeah, the VA side, that's what I'd say. You know, you want someone who's the way you train them is you need to have a database of all your stuff. And if you're listening to this and you're early in your days, start getting that database written down, because it was an absolute game changer.
Yeah. That's such good advice though, because I'm not in the SA space. I'm in HMOs, but I've stayed at a lot of Airbnbs through work and travel. And if I look at some of the questions that I had asked, it's always the same questions in the majority of Airbnbs that I'd stayed. It was either the Wi-Fi wasn't working or something, or even where was the Wi-Fi code, or something wrong with the central heating, or where is this? So if I'm getting an instant response, I'd always stay back there again. But the ones where I had a bad experience, I was like, nah, I'm not staying there again. And it could have been the best Airbnb as well, you know, the actual Airbnb itself. But if you have a bad experience with the customer service, it put me off, I'm being honest with you.
And don't get me wrong, some guests are like, we had one yesterday, like just over the phone, she was just like so aggressive to her. And the thing is, the Filipinos, they kind of sound American, but they can kind of tell when someone calls, and this is just unfortunate that some people are like this, but if you call 53 Degrees Property, and one of our four customer service, one's a PA, so one of our 4 customer service team, they answer the call. Like, if you can get some people are fine because they know more than I do about most of the properties. Yeah. Like, genuinely. So, but some people just hear their voice and they think, oh, you're not quite English, and then they just go so aggressive. I want to speak to a director right now. I want this. I want someone around here right now. And what happens is, the customer service team, all they'll do is send a message and they'll put at the start, hi, it's Daniel Budden here, one of the directors from 53 Degrees Property, and they just write it as if it was me. Instant change. And it's unfortunate that's the case, but you do have some guests that are ultimately just very snobby, expect John, I want someone, the TV, I can't find the TV remote, send someone around the next 15 minutes. And you're like, have you looked under the sofa? You know, kind of thing. So this is an example, right? And this is even the amount of outsource, how outsourced we are right now. I'm talking about this experience because it was literally yesterday. Mum rang me up. Have you seen the messages? Of course I haven't seen the messages. I don't look at them. Like, what's going on? The guest is being an absolute, to one of the VAs, and I was like, classic. Have they sent the message? Yeah, they have. Okay, what's this issue? Can't find the TV remote. I was like, okay, where is it? Like, check the eye auditor because we do cleaning checklists. Okay, it was there. Where has it gone? My mum was in the town at the moment, setting up a new unit. So she was like, I'm going to pop over and we'll take some Prosecco, we'll take some chocolates. So she went over, took some Prosecco, took some chocolates, went in, because we were like, okay, the TV remote maybe it's just not there. Like, there was a TV remote, there's 2 TVs, so one of the remotes must be missing. So we took it to the cleaning team, they apologised, they obviously hadn't done it correctly. Fine, mistakes happen. Mum went in there, move the TV from this room to that room where the TV... Mum goes into the sofa, offers the Prosecco and chocolates. Immediately she rejects them, don't want any of this. Goes on the sofa, lifts the cushion, so not even like the cushion that's on the, not even like this.
Is in the cushion that you sit back on?
The cushion you sit back on.
Yeah.
TV remote.
So just hadn't looked.
Hadn't looked. And Mum said, here you go. Oh, I'm so sorry. Instantly.
Tone changed. Right?
Tones changed massively. Yeah. You know, oh my God, everything. I'm so sorry. Like, yeah, we'll keep the chocolates, Prosecco, what, you know.
Sally should have taken the chocolates back.
You want the chocolates, Prosecco. But that is, obviously, it's fortunate that Mum was there. And that's why I want a UK-based operations manager as well.
Yeah.
Just for those scenarios where you do have to sometimes pick up the phone and they want to speak to a director for whatever reason that makes them feel more. There's just people who are a bit snobby, to be honest with you.
You get those people, don't you? I want to speak to a manager. I want to speak to a director.
I want to speak to a director, and you're like, all right, cool. Yeah. Hi, it's Dan. Oh, hi, thanks. Oh, so happy to speak to you.
Yeah.
What? You know, like my VAs know more than me.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just talk to my customer service team because I actually don't know the answer. Yeah. So that's like a lot of things. One in it's 1 in a million, you know, 1 in thousands, you know, of guests, or 1 in hundreds of guests.
Yeah.
So it's not like it happens all the time. But again, shout out to Sally for going around yesterday and sorting that. But it's no matter how at the moment that's why I want to get a UK based operations manager. Just the last little bit.
Yeah.
The last little bit that, you know, I want to speak to the director. We speak to the operations manager.
Yeah.
Or the manager. You know, I'll speak to them, and that's what we're missing at the
Just
moment.
change the title, operations director.
Yeah, operations director, done.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. So that's what we want at the moment. Just as like the final bit. But yeah, guests are like SA businesses are built off guest experience. And anyone who says otherwise is just not going to succeed.
Yeah.
And that's been a whole thing for us. We scaled on quality. Like we could be on 150, 200 units, and again, blessing in disguise. We grew slowly because of my sailing, but we also only took on really quality units. Mm-hmm. We made sure every unit we took on was quality. We scaled on quality rather than quantity, and now we're reaping the rewards. You know, over the 550 5-star reviews on Airbnb, we've got we've got 600 reviews in total. Still a super host. We've got 150 Google reviews, all 5-star.
Okay.
Like that has just built the whole time, and it's just and now we can be picky and choosy, but like we get a lot of leads, like I said.
Yeah. Probably
take on like 30% of them because we turn down loads because the landlord's not willing to invest in the property, not quite the right location for us. Then most of the time it's the landlord's not willing to invest, and I'm like, look, it does not a lot of money. All we need to do is put some better furniture in, paint a few walls, get some photos done. You're gonna get the reward for it. Like I want to promise you, like we can get you 80% occupancy, you know, but I can say that because I make sure the product is exactly what our guests expect. And I put a post out the other day about corporate travel agents. We work with so many corporate travel agents, and our whole reputation with them. I have account managers at them. Like I catch up with them once a month. We get so many bookings to them because it's a people's business, and they know every unit that we have hits a certain quality.
Yeah.
And that is so important. And that's why we've scaled on quality rather than quantity. And those people who randomly have 100 units, like what's happened, you'll see that half of them are all horrible, and you know they got their reviews aren't great, and there's some big companies out there like now that are exactly that. They've scaled really fast, and I think years time they won't be around because they've got units that aren't that nice. They're just very plain, you know, they don't have any character, but also the customer service is terrible, and it's usually the latter that brings, you know, the downfall. Customer service is number one, it's a hospitality business, not a property business.
It is,
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. So you spoke about your criteria briefly then, but what is your actual criteria though? So what's the criteria for your product for 50 degrees?
Yeah, so for us, like, location's important, so it needs to be like within a certain, it needs to be in one of the locations that we want to take on. So if it's like city centre Manchester or within we just have a circle that we'll take.
Like a radius.
We have a radius around each of our locations that we want to take on in. And then the next step is, you know, the actual street that it's on as well. You know, like is the street a good street? Is it like in a council estate, stuff like that? I say if it's in a council estate, if it's in a council estate that's changed to, you know, now a lot of them have been sold off privately. If the house itself is really nice, like we have one in Chester, council house refurbished, absolute banger because it's city centre of Chester. It doesn't look that nice on the outside, but we call it our ugly duckling. People love it, and like 5-star reviews. So for us though, it's location, and then once we're inside the property, it needs to be like clean. The main things are the kitchen and the bathroom. Is the kitchen and bathroom in a good state? If it's not, can we bring it to a good state by a simple like quick refurb? So changing the taps, for example, in a bathroom, changing some units in a bathroom, or in a kitchen, a real simple one. It's a classic, you know, paint all the cupboards, spray all the cupboards, change the handles, changes the kitchen and put some new flooring down, you know. So we do more to units probably now than we have done, but the landlord pays us to do that.
Yeah.
So on a guaranteed rent, like that's where the criteria for us really is location, and actually the landlord's willing to invest in the property. That's kind of the criteria at the moment, because we might take on a property that's, you know, not that nice, but the landlord's agreed to strip all the wallpaper, get the whole thing repainted, new carpets, spray the kitchen, put new handles on, put a new bathroom unit in, and we get paid to do it. So win.
Yeah.
So that's where, and we have the quality product off the back of it. Our main criteria is location, and the landlord's willing to invest. And if the landlord's not willing to invest in it, does the deal still work our side? Can we do rent-free periods so we can invest in it? The recent one in Chester we did, we changed all the carpets, repainted all the woodwork, all the woodwork, changed a couple of doors, but we got 2 months rent-free, and the landlord paid for half the work.
Yeah.
So it worked out in our favour anyway, and we'll get a 3-year contract, etc. A city centre location, great property. So each deal is different, but the main thing is, can we make the end product what we want it to be?
Yeah.
That's the main one.
Can we talk about your lead gen? Because it sounds like from what you were saying, you get a lot of leads coming in. So I've been at events where people are doing rent-to-rent SA or rent-to-rent HMO, and a lot of the new people that I've spoken to, it's always like, how do I get my first one? How do I get this? But it sounds like you don't have that problem. But talk to us about your sort of lead gen.
Yeah, so
marketing.
From the off, I had a lot of time when I was sailing to focus on our website. So early doors, I say early doors, we had a website. It wasn't great, and obviously it's got better. And I built the website myself. And then we started working with an SEO company, and I put some money back into the company to invest in SEO about 2 years ago. And we're just kind of reaping the rewards from that, really, through our website. So we get probably an average of 1 lead a day for our website, whether it's guaranteed rent or Airbnb management. Again, we could probably take on 20 to 30% of them, mostly because of location, outside of location, in the middle of nowhere, like not somewhere you want to be. So a lot of them come from our website. But then on top of that, like networking events, word of mouth, and because everyone knows our quality product and, you know, getting out there, it's very easy. Like, I think it comes across bad, but when I talk to people, I don't sound desperate, because I'm not. We've got loads of leads. So it's like a catch-22, you know, like we've got loads of leads, which makes leads even easier to get, because when I'm like, I come across as in like, I don't need you. Yeah. People are like, I want to be with you.
Yeah, I want to work
with you. Why don't you want my business?
Why don't you need me? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's, I mean, I definitely have, over the time, fortunate we were able to do it, but it's become easier to act like that, because genuinely I'm like, that is not worth my time. You know, like a one bed with that particular landlord who was already annoying me, and that I've done that because I've made mistakes. Like we had one, bit off topic again, but it's a good story. So we had one in Liverpool. We were meant to take on 3 flats. I just had a gut feeling the person wasn't right to work with, the way she spoke on the phone and all this, and I just had a gut feeling, but I just went with it anyway. I was like, I'll get the photos done. And we charge an onboarding fee, because I go to the property, do a list of advisories, and this is how we keep our quality. Because I say that I can promise you that I can't promise you anything, but this is what you expect to make. And I say this because we're going to do this to the property. So I go in, list of advisories, here's what you need to do. I did all that. I got the photos all done, and hadn't got any contract signed yet, hadn't got paid our onboarding fee yet, because they wanted to do it fast. And I was like, our family helps a lot of people out, and we've got burnt for it in the past. And
what? So you'd done the actual work that you advised to do, like the decorating?
No. So I hadn't, but I'd done the list of advisories.
Yeah,
and that takes like a day. So I'd spent about a day on site.
Yeah.
I'd also done the photos on that day as well with our photographer. I'd got them a discount on the photos, because I was discounting their onboarding fee, because I was because it was 3 units in one city centre Liverpool, and you would have seen it on my story actually, but that never actually came off, because when it came to the compliance side, I said, this is what you need fire safety wise. These are the Airbnb regulations that have changed. That gut feeling, I knew it. I just shouldn't have gone on the day and done it, but anyway, they were like, we don't need your services, give them the photos, whatever. And so I ended up basically paying. I basically just paid someone not to take on their unit.
Yeah.
And spent a day there. So if my day rate's like £1,500, then that's great. So cool. I was like,
lesson learned, right?
Cheers.
Yeah.
So since that happened, we're very even more so. I'm like, contracts get signed first. Here's an exact list of what you need to do. But off the back of that, I built an even more comprehensive list, including all the compliance. So now, if someone comes to me and says, I don't even go there. I just say, here's the list. Have you got it?
Yeah.
Take it off for me what you don't have. And
it's almost like a self-audit themselves, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't need to, and that's the thing about building systems and trying to scale faster. I don't need to go there, do that list, see the property. It's like, can you send a video tour of the house? Can you just fill out this list, what's there, what, and this is for Airbnb management rather than guaranteed rent.
Yeah.
But yeah, so can you fill out a list of what's there? Here's the compliance. Have you done any of them? Here's how much it costs, you know? And I just send them all these spreadsheets. I'm just like, you fill it out, you do the work, and some of them go with other people, but I don't want to operate in buildings that I can't operate as SA in, like weak foundations. Like people who operate in buildings that don't allow for SA are going to be screwed at one point. It's going to happen. You know, you're going to have to give your units back. And then people who aren't compliant, obviously a lot of compliance came in recently with fire regs. And we're still working on sorting a lot of units. There's a lot of units to sort out. But as long as you have a plan in place and you're actually implementing them, all of our new landlords have to do that. So I just send it to them. And people this particular people obviously weren't willing to do any of the compliance. I was just like, what? Like, I'm not going to take responsibility for that. And the main thing, they took these photos, whatever. They went down another agent. I've looked at the other agent. Apps like, you know, not even.
Yeah, best of luck to them, right?
Best of luck to them. Yeah, I just said like best of luck to you. And it was odd because they had two people. One person was really nice. The other person wasn't. I couldn't quite tell who owned the deal. I checked company's house. They were the director. This person wasn't anywhere to be seen, but they were the one making all the decisions. Everything gut fit. So now,
trust your gut feeling.
Trust your gut.
Always got to trust your gut. Everyone knows that, man.
Everyone
Always
goes
trust
like,
your gut.
Rookie mistake. I'm just too nice to people. That's the problem.
But that new system you put in place is really good though, because it's almost, you know, they're qualifying themselves, or you're getting them to qualify themselves as well for the deal. So before you invest any time and effort even going there, they've already pre-qualified themselves, because one, you would either find out that they're willing to give you that information and that they have that information, or that they don't have that information. So at least then you know what you got to work with. Or two, if they're not willing to give you that information, then it's not the person you want to work with.
Exactly, that massively. And that's why, like you say, it's a failure or a mistake that I made that we've now learned from. And you know, it's definitely made our systems better. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's a great mindset actually. Yeah, it's made your systems better. Yeah. I saw a post of yours recently. I don't know how recent it was actually, because I'm always seeing your stuff about a recent big win that you had around. I think it was.
Was it a booking?
Yeah, massive booking.
Yeah, £200,000.
That was obviously on Instagram, so you're able to talk about that. What was that? That sounded massive.
Yeah, massive. So like I said earlier, we work with corporate travel agents. So these are you want to compare these to Airbnb for Amazon, Airbnb for BT. Like BT don't book on Airbnb, Amazon don't book their employees through Airbnb. They book through corporate travel agents. So if you went on my Instagram, I literally I've sent out a list of 8 agents that we use, but Silverdor, Situ, Eden, Trade Stays, the apartment network, the service department networks, another separate one, or service accommodation, I don't know what it is. But anyway, I can send the list to people if they just message me.
So just we can backtrack a little bit. So what is a corporate travel agent?
So yeah, a corporate travel agent is an agent that works for a company to house all their employees. So if I'm Amazon, I don't go on Airbnb and book. I don't have an accommodation team that book all their employees in. But Amazon need 40 employees in Chester, and they want a company to do that. A corporate travel agent is the middleman. And what's good about a corporate travel agent is they have a full sales team. They have a full sales team that's working around the clock to get more business, get new companies in, get more bookings in each location. So if you have properties on there, you've basically got a full sales team that are working for you to get bookings in. So that's what a corporate travel agent does. They can also arrange flights, stuff like that. But the ones that I talk about are the ones that arrange accommodation for big companies, because a company does not want to book 15 properties separately, all different businesses. They want one company to go to who sorts it all out, charges them, they take a fee. Cool, everyone's happy. So I always say it's like an Airbnb for Amazon, but Airbnb does all the work, kind of thing. So that's what it is. And so the booking that we're talking about was through one of the corporate travel agents. And again, I've got an account manager with them. It's a people's business. I've been to their networking events. I've chatted to people at the top of the business as well. Very much like, you know who you know. You get more bookings if you know people. Yeah. Like, that's just the way the world works. Yep. So always kept a really good connection with them. And again, a really important one is we reply so fast. Like, they're like, we love Rio, because Rio's my head VA. We love Rio. She always replies on time, because they call you like, Dan, we've got a booking inquiry, send us the rates. Boom, they send the rates. Yeah. So it's all like, and the faster you work, the more happy they are. Every of their, and this is all relevant because of the booking, but every employee they've ever sent our way has always said like amazing reviews. So internally on their platform, they have a review system.
Yeah.
It's hidden from like the hosts. So you could be on their platform but never get any bookings because you got one booking and they did a bad, like we said earlier, about bad customer service.
Yeah.
So when they stay with us, they always had good customer service. They always replied in time, which meant it built our relationship more. And I didn't even know any of this until I had an account manager, and she was like, "Yeah, you've done really well." I was like, "Oh, cool, thanks. Thanks, appreciate that." So in the background, this has all been happening, and yeah, they came to us with, they had to employ, I've forgotten how many, they had to basically house loads of guests for 3 months in one of the cities we're in. It was in Chester, so we've got 22 properties in Chester. It's for the low season. It was from September onwards next year. 3 months initially, potentially goes to 5 months, but basically they've booked out 15 of our properties. Average rate is £4,480 per property, times by 3, times by 15, times by 4,480, £201,600 booking for the 3 months.
And you say this is for next September?
So this is for this September, sorry.
Oh, sorry, okay. Sorry, that's what threw me. I was like, oh, that's
2025.
Forward planning, yeah.
No. So this September, and obviously it's social media hyped it up some more, but the dates will change. They always do, but it's the way it is. They've stayed with us. They stayed with us last September.
Yeah.
Same people. Again, that was a 120 grand booking, but it was just less properties.
Yeah.
And again, they've stayed with us before, know what we're like, and they said, "Cool, we want to stay with you again."
Yeah.
And we're their like go to in that area. So yeah, got that booking. Really happy with it. Can't complain.
So it sounds like it's really lucrative then working with the corporate travel agents.
Massively,
right?
yeah. Because the corporate travel agents as well, like they'll pay a premium as long as you have a service. And I said on the Instagram post as well, we're not market average. We're above market average price anyway. Because I don't want to be market average. Like you pay for a service, and
of course,
you know,
get what you pay for, right?
Yeah, get what you pay for, and you attract the wrong guests if you price too low, for sure. And it's people forget like it's not all about occupancy. I could be sat on here and say I've got 60% occupancy, but my revenue's amazing, and but everyone has this like occupancy, like it's like a drug to have like 100% occupancy, but it's all about revenue. You know, it's all about your revenue and costs. So
I've heard this as well.
It doesn't really. It's not much about occupancy. So. Yeah, we're a bit above market average, and they're happy to pay a premium because of the service that we provide. So really lucrative to work with them. And again, it's like having a sales team.
Yeah, it's like an extension to your team. You're talking about building a team. You've kind of got that team already there.
For sure,
right?
yeah. So like that's why I wouldn't necessarily have an in-house sales team for bookings at the moment, because we kind of already have that through all the corporate travel agents, and we don't actually just use 8. We are on more than that. But some of them you can't get on unless you have a network to get on them. So
I was just about to ask that then as well. So how easy is it for someone starting out to get on to work with some of these travel agents? They must have requirements themselves, right?
They do have requirements themselves, and it's all about networking, to be honest. You want to go to one of their events probably to get in there. Honestly, like some of them I didn't get on until I went to a networking event with them. But most of them you can get on. It's just whether you get any bookings through them is another. You might be on there, but you might be like shadow banned, but not. It's not actually a thing. Get shadow banned on there, I don't think. But you might just not get any bookings because the reviews on there or the property doesn't look quite great.
Yeah, but they'll just sign you up because it doesn't cost anything for them to sign you up. Right?
Exactly. It's better for them to have more properties on there because then they can show them to all their corporate bookings. So but they are to get on them. All you got to do is reach out, initially, and a lot of them are pretty welcoming. But again, the better the relationship with them, the more you touch base with them, and if you're so down the business doing guest messages, you just can't continue that relationship and touch base with them. You can't have a monthly meeting with an account manager. You can't catch up with them on weekly on emails, and because they want to talk to like the decision maker as well. Until you can prove that your customer service team, or Rio in my case, and the team of girls, that they can reply on time. And the reason they reply on time is because we have a database of all the prices. So we have a dynamic pricing software, but we have a certain step-by-step process to follow for corporate bookings. So then they can reply within 30 minutes without having to ask me for approval. And that's like all of those systems it's all compounding, It always compounds, and then you get better and better, and each thing out of nowhere somehow leads to something else that's happened. But going back to getting on them, you just got to reach out to them.
Okay, wicked.
Chat with them and make friends.
I'm going to change the subject a little bit. We're going to talk about something that I'm quite passionate about. I know you're passionate about it as well. So this next part is going to come with a bit of a disclaimer because we may offend a few people with this next topic. Let's talk about courses and mentorship. So cool. There are a lot of shit gurus out there and shit courses, and people have been doing it for like less than a year. They've got 1 rent-to-rent or 2 rent-to-rents, and all of a sudden they're a mentor or a guru. Open-ended question. What's your thoughts on this?
I do so many posts on this and like so many reels. Obviously, I can't like drop any names, call people out, but the main thing is it obviously frustrates me massively because I have so many people that have come to me, and I didn't start mentoring or anything like that until like October last year. I took on my first mentee, and I do consultation. I used to do like free calls, like consultation calls with people, just because I was 3 years in. I'd been doing my sailing. I had a business, but I didn't feel like I was ready to help other people yet. And like, also, I was still doing a lot of stuff until I had the systems in place and stuff. So, but the biggest one, it's just like a lot of people came to me like, I've spent this much on this course, I haven't learned anything. I'm like, well, first of all, go back to them and be like, give me my money back. Like, what? Like, take them to court or something. You know, there's probably got their contract's probably literally not worth the paper it's written on if they have a contract. And what's crazy is actually even people who are like, what's crazy about the course world is even people who like seem to have it going for them. If you like, I've seen some of the contracts they sign you into, and they're like some of the ones that are actually like built out lengthy. It's like kind of suspicious, like non-competes, stuff like that, and like these are the bigger training companies. And you look at the contracts that you have to sign. There's like it's pretty fishy, you know, like how you can't like settle rent to SAs in the same location as them and stuff like this. And someone sent me on the other day, and I was like, do not sign up to that. Sign up to my free community. I literally give out so much knowledge for free because one, I think the more people in the space, the better. The more good people in the space, the better. There's plenty of food to go around, as it were. And there's like plenty of business to be had. And also, everything I give away for free, you can find on the internet anyway. Yeah. Like, and ultimately, if you want to work with someone, the reason you should work with them is because you trust them.
It's them. Yep.
It's them. You trust them. They've given you free stuff because most people give away free stuff if you just have a coffee with them. You know, like you trust them because it's them. And most of the part is the accountability part. The information there are like you'll make less mistakes working with someone for sure. But the actual like knowledge side of it, you don't have to pay thousands of pounds to get it. You know, you could do like one consultation call here or there with someone you trust, but don't just throw your money at someone because you want to start. You know, you need to research and. That doesn't mean searching rent to rent gurus. It means following people for a sustained period. Talking to someone like myself who actually has a business with, 50 plus units. And even if it's like not getting mentored by me, using me as a sounding board. People message me all the time, what do you think of this deal? And we've built this new community because I'm fed up of all the crap, basically. I built literally a service accommodation community where it's free to join. And because I had a WhatsApp group anyway. The WhatsApp group was wild. Like, everyone would ask the same questions. I'd answer them, and I was like, this is so counterintuitive. Yeah. So now we've built a community where people ask the questions. I answer them anyway for free, but they stay there. So then you can like search them and like find questions.
So what's this, like a Facebook community?
It's on a platform. It's on an app called Circle. Yeah.
Oh
so
yeah,
I know it.
Yeah.
It's on an app called Circle. So all you have to do is click the link in my bio, and you can join it for free. Yeah. And it's like a Discord, but a bit better because you can live stream on there. Yeah. I've put a database on there, so you can like work at your own pace through all the content as well. And the idea of that is genuinely to help as many people. And this is where, if we forget about the community for a second and stop plugging that, the main thing is like the people who do that give away so much for free. They're people you can trust because I don't talk to, even like people who are in my space who have as many units as me in my location. I don't talk to them as like competition. I don't hold things back in that way because if they get better, I get better naturally anyway. And eventually, if all the good SA operators, right, are all operating, all performing as they should be, because again, there's a lot of people doing it badly. If we all come together at the end, we're all making loads of money and we're like, let's all just collaborate, bring it under one brand. Great. Or just share all our bookings and stuff like that.
Yeah. Pass on referrals. Yeah, I've seen that happen.
Yeah, you can do it. So but the people who are doing it properly understand that. The people who are hiding things, doing courses that like you can't get into, it's all separate, driving Lamborghinis. It's like if you have 12 unit, and that what annoys me so much about social media now and like that whole course, and you probably know who I'm talking about, but people who are in Dubai who are driving Lambos and stuff, that money is not from their SA business. Yeah. That money is from their mentoring business. Yeah. And all I want them to sit there and say is, I have built a training company, and this is what my other company is. It's got 10 units in it. It's not that systemized. It's not got, these are the revenue, like on open honesty. If someone asked to see my figures right now, I'd show them if they wanted to join anything. Like I just show them. I put it on my Instagram half the time. Yeah. I put my occupancy rates on Instagram all the time. Sometimes they're 76%. Sometimes they're 95%. Sometimes they're 80%. Revenue's on there. The good and the bad is on there. So like we've got one property at the moment that's empty. It's like, and we're trying to get bookings for it. It happens. It's the business. But anyone who like makes it seem that it's easy as and easy to get into is probably full of shit, you know. And that's what annoys me about social media is the fact that people promote. It is just false promotion. They're promoting a lifestyle they've built off the back of mentoring, but pretending it's from their SA business, and that's the problem. If they were like, I've made all this money from mentoring and scamming people in courses, which they wouldn't do anyway. But but if they did do that,
that's the reality of it, isn't it?
But that's the reality of it, because mentoring's good money. Like it is. What happens is especially in the SA world, because I know it well, I can speak from it. You get to like 4 to 7 units, hit the VAT threshold. So what happens now is you either get VAT registered or even using Toms, you just like reduce your profit margins by 7%. If you use Toms, it's about, I don't quite know how it works out, about 7-8% your VAT rather than 20. But either way, you just margins just reduced overnight, and you've got to pay a fat VAT bill. So people are like, that's not very nice. So let's stay below that, and let's just do mentoring. You know, get paid, bring out some mentoring course that's 3,997 or 2,4.
Or if it's a one-time special, it's less than that. Right?
One-time special, it's half price for everyone who signs up initially. And it's like somebody's bring out that course, like look at their business, and what makes me like one thing that I laugh about loads is like 53 Degrees Property. Everyone knows that is my business. On my Instagram bio, on my t-shirt, on my quarter zip, like it is everywhere, and it's really easy to find. And like if you want to go on Company's House, go on there. 8 different businesses, my TPA coaching one, you can see what it does. That's my mentoring business. My 53 Degrees Property, 53 Degrees Lettings, Developments, 53 Degrees Management, all on there. Go on there, go for it, whatever. Go look at them. Look at my business, that's cool. But when these people bring out the courses, I can't find their business anywhere. Like, they don't have a website. That is the funniest one. People who don't have a solid SA website never buy a course off them. Like, ever. The amount of people that bring out courses at the moment, forget about all the Company's House, the truck, all that. Just try and find that SA website. Through their Instagram.
They should have 2 websites. I've been told there should be 2 websites, right? Your SA brand website, if that's the right terminology, I don't know. And then your one where you're acquiring the landlords. So
so you can have them in the same website as such. You can, but you have different sections of the website.
Okay, got it.
So like we have 53 Degrees Property, and we have an SA section, leisure, like guest section, and a landlord section.
Okay, got it.
And technically they're 2 different websites, but for SEO purposes, you want to build them on the same platform.
Got it. So it's better to do it on one platform.
Better to do it on one because we push all our guests to our website anyway through online check-in form and our guest check-in instructions.
For direct bookings, you mean now, yeah?
Yeah, so for direct bookings and also just SEO, if you have more people on your website, you'll start to rank higher. Very simply. The more people that click your website, the better. So if you push my 200 guests on a day-to-day basis or, each month 1,000 guests to our website, all of them have to do the online check-in form. All of them have to go on there to see the check-in instructions. They share it with their friends who are staying to get the website link. They all go on. That's a lot of traffic. Google's like, this website needs to be ranked higher. Pushes it up. So if you can if your landlord website is built into that, that means that you're getting ranked higher for everything on the website.
Got it.
Even your landlord. Like if you search Guaranteed Rent Manchester, Airbnb Management Manchester, Airbnb Management Crew, Guaranteed Rent Crew, Guaranteed Rent Chester, we rank number 1, 2 or 3. All of them. But yes, we've done SEO around blogs, stuff like that, but also we got a lot of traffic. We're pushing people to our website all the time. And like you say, direct bookings as well. You need a direct booking website and you need a slick website as well. But the main thing, if you can't find your guru's website, like what? They obviously don't have a business. And if it's their direct booking portal that comes with a channel manager, that is not a website. That is a free thing that comes with the channel manager, and that's what will show their properties. And you can actually, and I know mentors that have done this, they continue to pay for properties that they no longer have on their channel manager, so that it looks calendar's blocked the whole time, looks like it's full, but it's on their website, but you can't book it. So it's called a direct booking portal. Comes for free with your channel manager, which is like your centralized system. Comes for free with that. That's not a website. That's your direct. Yes, it can be linked to your website, and it should be to push people to it. But a website should be www.53dproperties.
Your own domain, right?
Property.com, own domain, own website, all set up. You got your landlord section, your SA section. They're the people that you want to get mentored by. And before you ever part your ways with your money, like go on. Like first of all, anyone who's selling a course for like upwards of $2,000, if upwards of $1,000, like you should be jumping on a call with someone, whether it's a sales team if they're really built out. Or whether it's, sales teams are annoying, sales calls are annoying, but it's at this level, And if you're looking for a mentor, it should be with that mentor.
Yeah.
Anyone who wants to spend money with me, I jump on a call with them, 20 minutes or 15 minutes in the car, like a call or a video call. And they should be willing to jump on with you and share their screen and show you their uplist, their channel manager, it's particularly in SA, show you their bookings, show you all their bookings, all their properties on there, all the insights. And like ultimately that's kind of when I do bring on new mentees, I'm again, another thing that's like kind of honest as well is most mentors that actually do it properly will have like a limited amount of mentees they take on. Like I only take on like 3 mentees at a time. So I've got 3 mentees at the moment and I got a wait list because I'm still doing it. Like I still have a business to run.
Yeah.
I don't want to like that's where if I was bringing out a coaching company and that's where I want to make all my money, then yeah, I would take on everyone. But that's not what I'm doing.
It's an interesting point you make. So I've spoken to a few who've been honest about their mentoring side of the business. And they said to me, look, Courts, I'll be honest with you, mentoring and coaching is a lot easier than me invested in property.
Massive, yeah.
I make a lot more money from doing that.
Yeah.
So, and that's the reality. They're making, 6 figures from their coaching and telling people how to do what they know they should be doing more of.
Yeah, massively. And that's the truth. That is the thing, right? Coach, like the way you get, the way you amass a lot of money very fast is through like coaching.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I do see my 53 degrees property being way bigger than my coaching business will ever be.
Yeah.
But that's why I've got the free community as well, because I do, back to that part, I have that community because I give away a lot for free anyway.
Yeah.
I want people to actually not jump into it if they can't as well. Like you don't need to spend $2,500 to realise it's not what you want to do. Like if you just hop in the community, ask a few questions, pay to get into the knowledge base, it's like $24.99 a month. You pay that, you do 1 month, you just leave. Like the fact that I just let you come in and just leave, like take the information and leave, I don't care. Like just look, does it work for you? No, because what upsets me is people who pay $2,500. Damn, I made a massive mistake. Like, I don't want to do this because it's a lot of work. Like, not everyone's an entrepreneur as well. That's another thing. Not everyone's made for it. Like, it's overwhelming a lot of the time. Like I said before, you burn out a lot. It's not made out for everyone. And what upsets me is that people have to part ways with $4,000, $3,000, $2,000 to work out that it's not for them.
Yeah.
And anyone who's taking your money should be willing to jump on a call with you and truly assess who you are. Show you their business, show you where you can get to, and be brutally honest. I genuinely, when I jump on a call, and anyone who's been on a call with me will probably be like, Dan is the worst salesman ever. He tells me I shouldn't be doing it. Like, he's telling me like, are you sure you want to do this?
Yeah, are you
like,
ready for this?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Are you ready for this? Like, if you want to do this, I will take you to this. I will do this with you. But this is like, and that's where.
But that's what you want in a mentor, though, don't you? You want that honesty. I mean, I had Ravi Gore on recently as well, and I asked him the question, do you ever turn down people that? And he said all the time.
Yeah, massive.
If they're not ready, but he said, but I'll make them make an informed decision so that they are ready.
Yeah.
And they know they're not ready. So
massive.
He said, he turns people down. It sounds like you're in the same...
that's exactly the same. And like a lot of people who want to get started in SA as well, like want to truly at the start of their journey. I'm like, you don't need to be mentored by me for $2,000 a month. You need to do 1 consultation call with me. I'll tell you how to get deals, or just jump in the community.
Yeah.
Go in for a month, find out the deal analysis, go through how to do it, and then go and see if it's right for you. Like you don't need a mentor at the start in terms of like having like all the gizmos, like weekly call, 1 day a month, like all of that. Actually, all you need is like 1 hour with someone. Yeah. Here's how you get deals. Go do it.
Yeah.
And then you go away. This is a lot of work. This is a lot. Like
if it's you or not.
I've been said no to like 50 times, and this is not for me. And they might go, this is not for me, or I go, have you really tried? And back to the point of way back about the acquisition side of it and new leads. I'm genuinely like, if someone jumps on a call with me for an hour and we go through how to, because I do consultation calls, so jump with me for an hour and we go through how to do deal analysis, how to find deals, and in 1 hour we do how to select your location, how to select your investment area for SA, or how to analyze all the deals, how to find all the deals. And on the back of that call, you should have everything you need to go find your first deal. Yeah. Obviously, the next thing you'll need is deal structure. How do we structure the deal? Contracts you need. That's fine. That's the next step. But if you can't find it in the first place, you're not willing to put in the effort to go find it, then it's pointless doing the rest of it. Yeah. It's step by step, and you don't need to spend You don't need to spend $2,000 to find that out. Yeah. You can go on like free community, ask some questions, or try and piece it together. And like for me, the savvier you are with it, and if you find the right communities and people to be around, you'll be able to do it. You'll be able to get the knowledge you need to get started, especially if you're like young as well. Like when I first started, I was young. I got loads of free information. I just chatted to people.
Yeah.
I network with people. How to do this? How to do that? Could you share that with me? Yeah, sure. And people who are trustworthy and honest are willing to share. It's a big one. Like
that's what I've learned as well from all the
share.
networking events that I've gone to. Like if you can trust someone, they like you.
Yeah.
They're willing to share information with you. And you do it back as well, It's all about,
massive.
Reciprocating it as well. So.
Yeah, I think it was, Sean said it was like Skillshare. Like
Skillshare. Yeah,
massively,
love
like,
that.
I don't know loads about HMOs, but like, if I had a HMO thing, I'd come to you and be like, look, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Don't quite know, this is what I want to do. Like, and that's where, you just, people who are like, all like, not giving away anything, hiding it for their course and upselling, it's like, oh, mate, stop.
Be wary of that, right?
Stop, yeah. Be wary of that. Don't go toward those people.
Yeah.
And like,
we got to keep calling them out anyway, man. Keep calling them out.
Genuinely, anyone who does that, this is it. Anyone who has a reel on their Instagram that says they were used to work that throwback video. It's like, used to work 9 to 5, used to work in Asda, now I've got a Lambo in Dubai. That reel, red flag.
Yeah.
Red flag reel, right there.
Yep.
So if you find that on someone's Instagram, then...
There's another one as well. There's one, I spent the first year of my business, I was sleeping on my friend's sofa.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford to eat.
Now I'm in Dubai in a G-Wagon.
Yeah. Now I'm in private jets.
Private jets in Dubai. So yeah, those reels are the ones
clickbait, man.
Yeah, those are the reels you want to look out for. You want to find someone who posts I literally post on my Instagram, I literally just post stuff that's gone well and gone wrong.
Yeah.
My business. People love my prostitute and party videos.
Yeah, I love those.
Love those.
Yeah, that's fine.
Everyone loves it. And I'm like, I just can't. I've done I don't have that many stories about prostitute. It happens once every blue moon. So it's like, fuck, I didn't.
That could almost be like a channel in itself or a series in itself. Yeah.
The prostitute and party series. Yeah, people love it, to be fair. But that's the thing. Like, that's open and honesty, and that's all I talk about. And like, I'm not the right mentor for everyone, but if people want to have a chat, then just have a chat with someone like myself or who's in the business. And
but that approach, I think, resonates to more people. It certainly does to me. I prefer the people that are more open and honest, a bit more authentic, because that's what I like about you. As I've been following you for a while now, since you started, pretty much. I just like the openness of your content.
Yeah.
So keep it up.
Yeah, and
man.
I'll keep it plugging. It is the truth, and I think what's a shame is like it happens with Instagram, right? Like 16 to 20-year-olds, they fall upon the wrong content. They fall upon the content we just spoke about, the Dubai content, very easily, rather than like the informative content or the honest side of it. But I hope that hopefully through like some property, you'll be able to get steered in the right direction. Yeah. And just don't dive into it. Anyone who's trying to sell you on a course that's like about to go double the price, just don't buy it. Yeah. Like, that person is not okay. Like because my mentorship increased in price as well over the time, but everyone who had like inquired when it was that price, I stuck to that price because I was like, that's what you inquired at. It's not like just my time's worth more because I do more shit now. Yeah. And like give more knowledge. So that's like, anyone who's trying to sell on a course that's half price for, the next 5 minutes. Yeah. Probably.
For fast action takers only, right?
For fast action takers, probably.
I love that one. I love that one. If you're not willing to invest in yourself.
Yeah. Because I think, but like I go on courses, right? I do go on courses, but they're like, I don't have a mentor at the moment, but I would if I found out the right person who was in a place that I wanted to get to or in the space that I want to get into, and I've spoke to them previously. And like, it's funny now when I go on those sales calls, I'm like, look, just don't sell to me. I'm already going to join the course. I just want to know more about it. Yeah. And that's kind of like where you should be at. And it's so funny. So like the courses I do go on, are people that I know, people I want to connect more with, and more like the knowledge side of it, just trying to get like that nitty gritty detail, a bit of accountability. Yeah. And you can always learn. So it's just people you trust is the best.
Love that. Love that. That's probably a great point to leave it on there. So, but final point for me though. So, firstly, thanks for coming on, Dan. Really appreciate it. Like I said, I know it's been a long time coming. Just final words from you, thoughts, advice to anyone.
Words, fail forwards. I really like that. So a failure, as long as you learn from it, it's going to be good for you. And we touched on quite a lot. And a bit more deep, like don't just presume other people are saying things about you. Actually, it's a lot of it's in your own head. Yeah. Actually, and you're probably doing all right.
Great. No, thanks for that. And finally, where can people find you and connect with you?
So my biggest one, Instagram, Property Athlete on Instagram. And if you want to join that free community we spoke about, just click the link in my bio or look at any of my recent videos. It's all plugged all over that, so you can just join that. And anyone who wants to get started, an essay, just reach out to me, the Property Athlete on Instagram. I reply to all the DMs. So absolutely, reach out.
We'll put all your links in their podcast episode when it goes live anyway. But Dan, again, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate your time, man. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. No, perfect. Cheers.
Excellent.